So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another builder. Today we're going to be taking a look at men-at-arms into eagles. So this is obviously only a strategy you can do with mesocivs, and so your options are Incas, Mayans, or Aztecs. I would mostly recommend this with Aztecs because of their faster production and strong economy, and generally Mayans considered to have better options with their plumed archers or just a regular crossbow. However, Aztecs and Incas, this is a very, very strong strategy. So let's take a look at it real quick in the notepad, and then we'll jump into the game, and I'll show you guys firsthand how it's done. So in the Dark Age, we are going to do the standard start, 60 sheep, 4 on wood. Up until pretty much the late Dark Age, we're going to do a men-at-arms start. So we're going to send one more vill to wood. If you've seen my men-at-arms to archers, it's very similar. We're going to have 5 on that lumber camp at the end of Dark Age, and we're going to send the last 2 vills to take gold and make a mining camp. Once we've clicked up, we're going to make 3 militia like a normal men-at-arms start. And then we're going to send 2 vills from sheep to the same wood lines. We're going to have, this is the only difference here. We're going to have 7 on the one lumber camp instead of making a second one. And you'll see why when I get into it. It's basically because you don't need as much wood to seed farms. And then you want to also send 1 more vill from the sheep to the gold. So you have 3 on gold because eagles cost a bit more gold. Then we're going to go to Feudal Age. When we finally hit there, we're going to get the wood and the farm upgrade right away. You have the economy to get both. We're going to get the men-at-arm upgrade right away as well, because obviously it's a men-at-arm rush. I'm going to seed a few farms and then send 3 more to gold. We're going to need 5 or 6 to keep eagle production from 2 barracks. So there it is. You make your second barracks and then you start pumping your eagles once you get your eco upgrades going. We're going to seed a few more farms till we have 9 or 10. And then we're going to go ahead and make a blacksmith and get both infantry... no, sorry. I had both infantry armor and attack, but just infantry armor at the start. After blacksmith, keep sending vills to gold from the TC. So we're actually going to stop making any farms. So notice that we're only going to make 9 or 10, and we're actually not going to get wheelbarrow either. We're going to do something else. When berries run out, we just send those vills to wood and gold. So basically, we're going to keep sending vills to gold, and the idea is to buy our way up to Castle Age, because eagles mostly cost gold, and we don't need that many farms to sustain production. So you're going to make your market as soon as you can afford it, and then you're going to have a lot of gold built up, and we're going to just use that gold to buy food and eventually click up. Remember, we're going to continue making eagles the whole time, and the production should never stop in Feudal Age. And then I also have a side note here. Don't be afraid to sell your stone if you don't need a tower, because we're very often going to play 1 TC in Castle Age with like 3 or 4 barracks, so you don't really need that stone. Since you already have the market, you might as well go ahead and do that. So that's the build I'm going to show you guys right now. The idea is to do eagles, a few eagles in Feudal Age, use the market to click up faster, and then go all in eagles in Castle Age. So let's jump right into the build, and I'll show you guys firsthand what it looks like. So I think for the purpose of this build, I'm going to go ahead and use Aztecs because I truly believe that Aztecs is the best civ to make this work. I will not lure deer because I will show you the worst case scenario as usual. And well, I will just see what feudal times, what castle times I'm hitting, and hopefully you guys can get a base mark of what should be your goal to achieve. Obviously in game it's not going to be the same every time, but just try your best to hit as close to these times as possible with the same number of units and stuff like that. Show the standard computer here, Aztecs, and we're all good. Alright, so the start's going to be obviously very similar to a regular men-at-arms build. Nothing too complicated here. If you've watched the men-at-arms archer build, like I said, all this is going to be very familiar. I guess while we're doing the Dark Age, I'm just going to remind you guys of a few good scouting tips as well. Make sure to scout using your sheep as well as your scout, and what I like to do is spread them out. So my sheep will tackle one side of my base like this one, and my scout will arc around to the other side, and that way you get maximum scouting in pretty much the shortest time possible. 6 on 2 sheep, and I'm going to find now the best wood camp, or woodland, because I'm only going to make 1 lumber camp, so I really need to make it count, and I think I'm going to choose this one on the front. It's nice and big, and I could have a lot of coverage on it. Right, there it is. 4 to wood now, and then we're gonna go ahead and transition and get that boar. Remember, since you're playing as Aztecs, your villas carry like 15 food from the sheep, and so often you're gonna have to force drop them to keep constant production. That's a small thing to keep in mind with the Civ. It's gonna be 4 on wood now. Once you have 4 to wood, we're gonna go ahead and get that boar. Notice how like well done my scouting is. Pretty much, there's no black areas. I can pretty much see all my mines, and that's pretty much exactly what you want to do in every single one of your games if possible. I'm gonna make my house now and then look to transition onto berries. Let's go ahead and pick up those last 2 sheep. Whenever you have this downtime and like you don't really have much to do in the Dark Age, just double check your mill and lumber camp. Make sure your villas are working efficiently. Sometimes they tend to bump amongst each other and are inefficient. So if you have ever some free time in Dark Age, that's the kind of things you really want to be looking at. Make sure you have a very smooth economy. Alright, get my second boar now. And my next few villas will probably go onto food here, as as they do in most build orders. Okay, I'll do one more vill onto boar as well. Okay, and now my 18th villager, that one should have went to go ahead and make me a house, and I'm going to make my barracks on the front as well. So for the purpose of the builder, obviously I'm not going to attack my opponent, or else I'd be scouting him. For the purpose of the builder, we're not going to worry too much about that. Alright, so my next villager will go over to woodline, so I'm going to have 5 on that one woodline, same as the archer build once again, and then my last 2 will go over to that gold. So one thing you notice with a lot of these builders, scouts into skirms, scouts into knights, men-at-armor archer, men-at-armor eagle, they're very similar. So once you learn one, you kind of learn them all. You just have to know, the slight differences you make with each one. And once you learn those, you're good to go. Alright, keep an eye on this boar. When it runs out, we're going to go ahead and just take some sheep. Send 2 villas over to gold, and then make loom. Again, this is the bumping I'm talking about. I always, pay attention to make sure I'm fixing that whenever it occurs. If I spot it, of course. Not always possible, but if you have time, double check. It's worth it. Now, as you can see, it's an easy click up, and we'll see the feudal time I get eventually. Now it comes time to make my transition. So I said we're going to stay on one lumber camp, so I'm going to send 2 more villas there. So 1 from the barracks and 1 from the TC. And now I'm going to produce men-at-arms as soon as I can from the barracks. So like the men-at-arms archer build, we're going to go for 3 men-at-arms as well. Try to avoid seeding farms in Dark Age with this build, because we do get horse collar at the start of Feudal Age, so you really want to seed most of your farms then. But I haven't lured any deer, and my sheep are running out, so I think I might go ahead and seed a couple farms here. Yeah, I think it's worth it, seed 1 or 2 farms. If you lured 1 deer, you can probably delay them, but I think in this case it's fine to just make them. And just like a regular game, if this was a regular game, I'd send these guys to attack my opponent, but obviously it's just a builder, we're going to keep them here. Yeah, you should definitely move out as soon as you've made 3 of them. Try and look for your opponent, do some damage. And yeah, once you finish your sheep, you can just send the villas to the lone wood, and they'll be just fine there. Alright, so right away in Feudal Age, I'm going to get the men at arm upgrade, then the wood upgrade, and the farm upgrade. We can afford them all. I think only with Aztecs would you be able to afford them all. And we're also going to go ahead and make a second barracks. So I'm still missing the farm upgrade. I need a bit more food for that. I'm sure we'll get some soon though. Okay, in the meantime, it's fine to seed a couple more farms. And we also need to send more bills over to gold as well. Seems we're not able to afford it for the time being. That's okay. We'll eventually be able to afford it. You know, at this point I'm thinking we don't really need the farm upgrade actually. So we're gonna skip the farm upgrade. Never mind that. And once you get enough farms here to sustain village production, we're also gonna start making eagles. I'm gonna need 5 villas onto gold. I think that's the correct number. And yeah, I'm gonna make vill production and eagle production. House for a short time, but we're fine. Okay, so never mind that farm upgrade. It turns out we actually don't need it. So I think the last time I ran this build, I had a deer lured in or something. They may be able to afford it. Okay, that's gonna be my 5th villager. Onto gold. And I'm gonna look the wall the other side now. So notice I've got constant eagle production here from both barracks. And as soon as I can afford a blacksmith really, and once I have like, I would say 9 or 10 farms, we're gonna go ahead and send all the villas to gold. So now I've got 9 here, I'm gonna make that 10th on the mill, and then I'm gonna just send villas over to gold. Make my blacksmith, and then I'm gonna go ahead and save up for Castle Age pretty much. Alright, so just for the sake of builder, I'm gonna delete these men at arms. I'm gonna assume you've lost them fighting, because usually you would at this stage. Make my blacksmith. And now with these eagles, once you get like 3 or 4 of them, you can go ahead and raid. They do a decent job at picking off vills, and once they get the armor, they don't really die to archers too easily. So they're a very strong unit. And don't be afraid to add a lot of vills to gold here. It's completely normal to really saturate it for this build. When berries run out, I'm going to send most of the vills to wood and to gold. Maybe I'll seed a couple farms, we'll see how it goes. And then I'm going to get the market when I can afford it. I'm going to do the build where I sell stone. Remember, constant eagle production. But then as soon as I start to pile gold, we're going to go ahead and sell it off. Bears starting to run out. I'm going to seed maybe 1 or 2 farms and send the rest to wood. Alright, remember no wheelbarrow in this build because we want to click out fast, and you don't really need wheelbarrow if you don't have too many farms, which we definitely don't. Once the market goes up, remember to sell off your stone if you want. It's not a must, but I like it because it helps you get a faster time, and you don't really need it because we're going to stay 1 TC. And these villas, we're going to send them over to wood, and we'll seed 1 more farm. Alright, so just going to use the market here and click up as quickly as possible. Don't worry too much about the economy. And don't be afraid as well to make a second mining camp like so on the main gold. On the other side of it, and that way you get full saturation of it. There we go. Alright, so just like that, I'm going to abuse the market a little bit more, and I'll be able to click up here shortly. There we go. And I'm up. So very, very fast uptime. Remember, this is a very kind of all-in strategy. Reseed farms definitely when you're done. When you click up, you need to do a few things now. So, first thing I'd advise you guys to get is gold mining upgrade, because obviously it helps with the gold production. Second thing I want you guys to get is the horse collar, so for farms, and also the attack upgrade on the eagles, foraging. Remember, always keep constant eagle production as well while you're doing this. Okay, horse collar is good now. Again, don't be afraid to reuse the market now to rebalance your economy. So if you have too much gold now, don't be afraid to buy food with it. Remember, we bought a lot of food, or we sold some wood while going up. It's fine to rebuy now. We got the faster castle time. That's all we wanted in the first place. Once Watchtower is done, you can reseed a few farms. That's fine. Just make sure you get a third barracks down to be able to go for that one TC Eagles. There it is, third barracks. And you see now quickly my eagle mass is very, very large. And as soon as I hit castle, I'm going to be able to afford... I'm hoping to afford both armor and eagle upgrade. But if you can just get the eagle upgrade, that's just fine as well. And remember, this is 1 TC, so don't mind the very low resources. This is absolutely normal. I'm getting housed here. That's fine. No biggie. Usually you wouldn't get housed because you obviously, some of your army will die. That's okay. Susie Castle, the important upgrades to get are obviously the eagle upgrade, this one, eagle warrior, and also we're gonna buy for it the armor upgrade on the infantry. So I'd actually say I'd idle this build to get it because it's very important, and then after it's all about eco production. So 3 barracks eagles and then just 1 TC for villagers. In Castle Age, you want to have enough farms, to sustain the vill production, obviously, and some eagles, and then the rest is really just onto gold because eagles are very cheap, and that's all you need. So what I would recommend is just seed a few farms at the start of Castle Age, and then send the rest to a second gold mine. And that's pretty much the end of the build. For my second gold mine, I'd probably try and take this one, for example, here. This one on the front's kind of exposed. But yeah, I'd send now, like, villagers now. Let's assume that house wasn't there. Okay, and make a mining camp like so. And then send vills, or maybe on the other side of it even. And then send vills and TC to take that one. And yeah, you can pretty much continue massing eagles now. That's the end of the build. You should never really add more economy. You should just stay on 1 TC and keep adding military until you're able to kill your opponent. Again, this many eagles, if your opponent's not fully walled with stone or with buildings, he's going to struggle. Even palisade walls you can break through if you get arson. And so yeah, that's pretty much a very strong 1 TC push with Aztecs or with Incas or Mayans if you really want. But it generally works best with Aztecs. Hope you guys enjoyed. Before we end off, let's just go ahead. We'll resign this game and we'll take a look at the achievements here real quick. Whoops. And so if you take a look at our uptime, so Feudal Age 1007, remember 1010 is pretty much the standard time with regular lag for 22 pop. Castle time was very fast, 1937. I would say aim for around 20 minutes. You're not going to get this in a real game, and I upped very fast using the market. You should still use the market, but you should aim for like 20 or 2030, and that will be fine as well. And then as far as everything else goes, well, it will vary within the game. But yeah, these are uptimes. This is an important thing to keep in mind. And yeah, that's it for the builder. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's not the most meta builder. I think Men at Arms into Archers is a lot more competitive. But this is a fun strategy, and it definitely can catch your opponent off guard. And it is still a very powerful one if your opponent plays open. So if you've enjoyed this video, drop a comment about what you thought about it. If you want to see more, let me know what builder you guys want to see next. And yeah, that's all for now. Peace. Okay, so that was the YouTube video. Oh man, that was a mouthful. Okay.